one. Boom, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Insurance Bro Show. We got an awesome guest lined up for y'all. Today, we're going to talk about sales.
The Insurance Bro Show is a podcast for agents who want to grow their agency and be titans of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Bro, James Cias.
All right, all of you insurance pros out there, we're going to dive into another fun episode. But before we do, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help us drop a review, help other like-minded insurance agents find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in the podcast rankings. I will sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, would love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest, schedule your time slot, and don't forget to follow me on all my social media at Insurance Bro Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we're so excited and so honored to bring another incredible guest to the Insurance Bro Show. Our guest today has spent the last decade and a half honing his skills as a sales assassin, and he is passionate now about helping and leading others to sales success. Drawing on his deep expertise in marketing and sales, our guest partners closely with his clients to drive excellence across their businesses. He has the capability, the experience to drive growth by transforming and improving existing sales processes, analyzing metrics to facilitate effective strategies and systems, my favorite, and optimizing talent to improve sales force effectiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to run an agency that is geared for growth in 2021, you will not want to miss today's episode. Joining us today out of the great state of Texas, the host of the Grind, Sell, Elevate podcast. Welcome to the show, Tyzer Evans!
What's up, James?
Sir, what is up, my man? Welcome to the show.
Oh, man, I love that, dude. I was wearing my shirt yesterday that said, I'm your Huckleberry.
Oh, we got that clip right here for you. Right here for you.
Here it goes.
All right, I'll do.
I'm your Huckleberry.
There we go.
You know, it's one of those things when you got too many people. I'm like, I'm waiting for him to hit it, and then he doesn't hit it. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll click it. And then he clicks it at the same time, and it just, anyway. Welcome to the show, Tyzer. Tell me a little bit about yourself. As we were getting started here, as we were jumping into the show, you mentioned you've been in insurance for a long time. You've been in the sales game for a long time. Tell me a little bit about your background, where you come from, and how you've gotten to this point.
Yeah, cool, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. You guys are a great host. Love the show. So I'm a California native. So I grew up in Northern California, Sonoma County. Decided to take a little detour to college down in San Diego. Got down with school down in San Diego. And I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car my first couple years out of college. And then I jumped into the insurance game 2 years after college. I was 25. I was a super senior, a little extra year in college. Yeah, man. So then I started working in personal lines in Oceanside, California, and did that. Was an agent for 2 years, and then jumped into sales management and ran some of the largest sales team in the country for the carrier I was working at in the field and the call center. So I had a dual experience of running a call center, but also drumming up business from the field. And then in 2017, I made a jump and went on to the carrier side in a different capacity, working with insurance brokers. So now I work with insurance brokers and agencies on the carrier side and help them get small businesses major medical insurance in place.
Oh, you're working in the group health space now.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Very cool. So tell me a little bit about that transition. You start with personal lines, you jump over to the carrier side, and it was still PNC the first time around?
No, I went right from doing personal lines to group health.
To group health. Okay.
Yeah.
What was that transition like, and what made you make that specific change?
Well, there was a lot of reasons for the change. One, I said we were in Orange County, me and my wife and our two small boys, and she's from Orlando and want to get back to the East Coast. Are you guys from Cal? You guys are in California?
Yeah, we're in San Diego.
Yeah, and so I mean, state taxes suck there. Love it, love the state, man, but state taxes suck. And so my wife was like, "Hey, the home prices, the taxes, with how much money we're making, we're paying more than our fair share." And so she wanted to get back to the East Coast. And so I was looking for different opportunities, found the right opportunity. And so we ended up in Atlanta.
In Atlanta. Okay. Mm-hmm. I apologize. I was reading your bio on LinkedIn. I said Texas.
Oh, I'm in Texas now.
You're in Texas now?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Woo. All right. So everything's up to date. Good.
Yeah.
Good job keeping that internet profile up to date.
Yeah. No, so I've made a couple moves the last couple of years. But to answer your question, the transition was interesting because I went from being B2C, right? And so it was very easy. I had a very high closing ratio as an agent. I think statistically for our company, the closing ratio was around 35%, and mine as an agent was 62. And nice. So I was really good at taking control of the conversations and closing people on the spot, and tenacious with my follow-up. So going to group was different because now I'm networking and building relationships with brokers who then are ultimately selling my product to the customer. So I was a bit removed and didn't have as much control. So it was the first 6 months was interesting trying to figure out how I could help influence, to the sale. Yeah. Uh-huh. So that was a really interesting transition. I did it successfully. I was rookie of the year, my first year transitioning, and I was top 10 in the country as a rookie. So I did it. So I made the transition okay.
You did it right. It sounds like one of the things that you are skilled at is motivating people. I mean, for one, you're motivating people to buy your product as the salesperson. But then, what you just said was you're basically herding cats, right? You are getting these brokers out here, and trust me, I'm one of them. I'm one of those cats. But to be able to get them to follow your lead and to sell your products is a very specific skill. So how exactly is it that you do that?
Well, I mean, it just comes down to the old rapport building, man. I mean, when I worked at Enterprise, one of my managers there, he's still a really good friend and he was a good mentor. He said, there's 7 billion people in the world and you have something in common with every single person. Your ability to sell that person is how fast you can find that common interest.
Oh, that's a good one. Your ability to sell that person is how fast you can find that common interest.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like an interview? Do you talk to them for a little while, kind of get to know them, see if you guys like the same football team, see if you guys are into the same movies or whatever, and then you just kind of like, boom, roll with that and continue to build that actual relationship?
Yeah. So if I were calling you, James, one of the first things I'd want to qualify you before I start, trying to court you. Right. Yeah, so, so I was, I get right to the point, hey, James, this is Ty calling with XYZ. I was calling to find out if you are still in this space. Right. So I kind of leave it up, like assuming that you are in the space. And then once I find out that you're doing that, great. And then I kind of get in. That's the reason exactly why I was calling today, was to talk to you about, small group health. I would love to find out a bit more about you and your agency. I've seen that you've been around and you've been doing this since 2010, but I would love to hear about how you got your start in the industry and learn more about you. And so that's usually how I open my calls and make it all about the broker. And because I am curious, I want to know how they got their start. I think that, being a broker is an extremely tough job to build a book of business. So I have a lot of respect for it. And then, once you get them rolling, talking about themselves, it's just, it's that 80-20 or 70-30 active listening, right? 70%, 80% of the time. And then just continuing to ask great questions. If they, I moved. Yeah. Like I remember this conversation with this guy, Mark Hager, and same things, took the same approach, started talking to Mark. And he goes, yeah, I moved out here 35 years ago from Santa Monica. Boom. There's my connection, right? I'm a California guy. He's a California guy. So we hit it off, and then, so I just kind of look for those different types of things, or, if they're a big football fan, then I talk to them about football, that's the man language, right? Is sports.
Yeah. Easy. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So these days you are, in addition to working with the carriers. You've got something else going on. You coach people in sales. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, so I do a little bit of side consulting, doing one-on-one coaching with people, and then also help some small businesses, just help them with getting their sales processes and strategies in place. A lot of people are just confused of where to start, how to make a proper intro call, how to set up sales sequencing, how to properly use LinkedIn. So just getting people some type of direction.
Heck yeah!
I don't think it means what you think it means.
You guys are killing it.
I'm all about that. It's one of my struggles currently really is that sales automation, those follow-up sequences, that kind of stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about like the processes that you use? Like, for example, how many times do you, in an automated way, reach out to a customer? Like if I'm an agent and I'm setting up my automations, right? I get a new customer that comes in. How many days after that customer buys a policy from me should my first automated email come out to them? And how many follow-up emails should I have for cross sales, for reviews, for whatever different things? Can you tell me a little bit about those processes and how people can set that up?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, if you're looking at like personal lines, and if someone called in because they got a lead or they got a quick quote, an internet lead, and you're able to close them on the first sale, but you didn't close the home or you didn't get the renter's insurance policy, then it's just, one of the questions I always sold on was, obviously you got their address, right? Mm-hmm. So great. You see that's not an apartment number. So you can't assume that they own the house, but you can ask, do you rent or do you buy? Or do you rent or do you own? And so that was always a great question. Oh, I rent the house. Oh, great. Do you have your personal property covered? No, I don't. So then I know I kind of go away from that, focus on what I'm focused on. But now I know that they're a renter. They don't have renters or coverage, but they know that they need it because they need their personal property covered in there. Or yes, I own my home. Great. Well, who do you currently have your home insurance with? So I obviously want to close them on the spot, but my renewal is not up till November 1st. Great. Well, then I'm going to put a reminder on my calendar for 30 days before or 45 days before so I can get in touch with them. But then I'd also put a reminder on my calendar to send just hey, thinking about you, want to follow up on the policy before then, right? So it's always that 90-day after the policy has been installed to call to follow up to make sure that the policy is running smoothly. There's no issues, that they're happy with the product. So that's something I would do on the personal line side. I always made sure I kept track of birthdays, send everybody a birthday card. When the policy was sold, I sent them a thank you letter with 5 business cards asking for referrals. That way they can hand out my business cards. On the broker side, it's a little bit different because you're really nurturing the brokers, right? There's nothing to close on the first call. So it's a different tactical approach. So the way that I have my guys and what I did as a rep is I build out a sales sequence for a full quarter. And I usually build out 3. And it's kind of like A/B split testing for email marketing. So build out several sales sequences. And I usually don't like out of 12 weeks, I like to have a minimum of 8 touches. And then, so as I built the sales sequence, obviously a bit more aggressive, and then you kind of trail off because you don't want to be stalking somebody.
Yeah, you don't want to spam them.
Yeah.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Every time.
Exactly. Every time. But we try to hit them with different touch points when you're building out a sales sequence. So, the first sequence may be intro call and intro email. And then maybe you give it 7 days and you're going to call again, a call and an email, but it's more of a value proposition. Maybe there's something, industry related white paper that you can send them, or a great podcast like this. You can send them, hey, I was thinking of you. I know we haven't been able to connect, but I wanted to send this to you because I thought that based on what I can see from what you do in your niche, you might find a lot of value from this podcast, right? Maybe give it 2 weeks, then you hit them with a call and a LinkedIn request and an in-mail. I think it's the last statistic I wrote that the open rate of an email to a new prospect is 12%. This is just targeted on this niche, but an open rate on an in-mail is 48%. So you're a lot more likely to get a broker or a president of a company or principal to read your in-mail versus your email. So then we kind of just, set out those type of strategies over the next quarter, have multiple. So that way I can hit San Antonio with this one sales sequence and hit Austin with this one sales sequence. And if I'm getting a bunch of snapbacks on week 3 in San Antonio, then I can start to perfect what type of sequence that is most effective by understanding what people are responding to and kind of go from there.
It doesn't sound to me like that's a it sounds to me more like that's a personal approach. Like, it doesn't sound to me like it's a very general, like, I'm just going to throw this out there to everybody. Do you find that you are customizing each of these sequences, or is this really something that you can scale and send to multiple people and in multiple industries, and just like, this is my template and it's going out and all I got to do is fill in the name?
Yeah, so that's exactly what you're doing. So you definitely can scale it. It's once you've built out the sequence, it can be used for any vertical, right? Because you could use a white paper, a podcast, a blog post for any vertical. You just got to find those niches and then be able to send it out, and then just trying to analyze which one's working the best for sure.
Do you update those emails, those white papers? You come up with something new and it's just like, okay, boom, this is what I'm sending out to everybody. Just constantly coming up with new ideas?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I'm always, like, my wife always jokes, I'm always the idea guy. Like, I've always got a million things running in my mind. You know what I mean? And that's why I like, that's why I like doing the podcast and doing the sales consulting. I work my ass off during the day for the company I work for. But for me, it's I like to stay busy. So I'm constantly reading, how can I better myself? I've got a very structured morning routine. I'm big into personal development. So yeah, 100%. Like, there's insurance journals, benefit news, those types of things. I'm always following on LinkedIn and getting the emails, so I can always have relevant information and updated relevant information to send out to bro.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
Absolutely. I love that you brought up your morning routine. I'm a big morning routine guy myself. I feel like it's made a huge difference. How long have you had this morning routine dialed in? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had the morning routine dialed in for about 4 years. I've always been an early riser, even going back to high school, man. I was one of those like crazy kids. I would get up and do my homework at 5 a.m. before class. I don't know. I just function better in the morning. So I've always been a person who's historically gone to the gym in the morning. But as I wanted to take it to the next level, I read a book by Hal Elrod. I'm sure you've heard of it, The Miracle Morning.
Yep.
And so I just took that playbook and I applied it to my life. So I get up at 4:45. The first thing I do is I get into I get up and get a glass of water is the first thing I do. But then I go right back into a meditation. And gratitude practice. And then I go into doing breath work. I use Wim Hof's app. Yep. And do 5 minutes of breath work. And then I go into 5 minutes of affirmations. And I do 5 minutes of a visualization practice. And then I read 10 pages in a book. And then I journal about what I just read. And then by that time, it's about 5:45. So I then head off to the gym and I throw in a 45 to 60-minute workout.
Nice. And then you get your day.
That's cool, baby. I mean, you know how it is.
And then you get your day started from there, and you've already accomplished more by 6 a.m. than a lot of people do throughout their entire day.
Yeah, 100%.
So here's the big question. You started this 4 years ago. How has your life changed in those 4 years?
So that's the crazy part, man. Like, I was always a top producer as an agent. I was a top producing manager. Even going back to college, I was a top producer in sales. I worked for San Diego.
Oh, nice.
In college. Yeah, I ran the Fashion Valley store and the one at North County Fair. Cool. Yeah, and so, I won sales awards there. Then I did an enterprise. But like, I was good when I was a broker, and I was like top 10 when I got promoted out of 800, but I still wasn't pushing the envelope. I was just relying on natural born skill. And so 4 years ago, it was right about the time I started where I'm at here at this carrier. When I went all in on myself, dude, it was crazy. I mean, yeah, I finished number 6 in the country as a rookie, then started my second year number 1 in the country. And I was making great money in California, but I've more than doubled my income.
Wow.
Since then.
So, I was going to say, it's not necessarily, I was thinking that your money just went further being in Atlanta or Texas or wherever else, but you actually doubled your income in those 4 years.
It doubled my income, and I cut my expenses. So yeah, it's been worked out well.
Hell yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. And here I got no state income tax, man. So it's great.
It's the best. Jose's asking, what was the name of that book again?
The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Definitely a great book. And yes, I have read that one. Life changer for me as well. I'm up pretty much the same time as you, 4:40. My listening robot over there turns on my lights automatically at 4:44, so it makes sure that I actually get out of bed. I picked that up from a previous guest. So 4:44, a light comes on and I'm out of bed too, and it has really made all the difference in the world. Huge difference. So, where was I going with that? Marketing tips. That's where I wanted to go. Marketing tips for those brokers that you are working with. One of the struggles that I find, especially like with P&C agents, is doing the cross sell to group health. Finding customers, if I'm a personal lines agent, for example, I don't necessarily have access to a lot of businesses that would need the group health. So where do I go? How do I find people? And what do I tell them to make sure that they are open and listening to this opportunity?
So, I mean, we're talking about P&C and cross-selling to group?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the brokers, from my experience, they don't want to cross sell because the P&C, like once you get them on the books, I mean, you just hand them over the renewal and they mostly just sign it. Like it's not as volatile, I think, as groups, especially with the way that the ACA market is ran. The premiums have just done this, and this because ACA basically took out what insurance does, which is risk analysis. So the guaranteed issue product, you can't underwrite, right? So it's like you have no choice but to raise premiums because you don't know what risk you're taking on. So because it's a much more of a volatile market in group health, I find that a lot of P&C guys just don't want to risk converting them over into group health and then the group health going sideways and then losing the P&C business as well. So I think you have to get over that fear and just be comfortable in that realm. And that's just, working with great carrier partners, great reps who really know the industry. Or one of the things I've seen that's worked really well is tag teaming with another broker who does group health. That's all they do.
Nice.
And you can refer your clients over to them and split commission, and then vice versa. Because a lot of group health guys don't do P&C, but a lot of these guys, they don't always talk.
Yep.
And so they do themselves a disservice, so it's just joining a great networking group, getting out, meeting brokers. It's amazing to me. And it could be the demographics, especially with the group health market. The average age of a broker is about 58. They don't use LinkedIn the way that they should. And to get on there and network with people within their community and build a tribe of other brokers around them, or start Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups like what you guys are doing with your podcast, right? You're able to then network, and maybe your specialty is personal lines, but you can network with 3 other guys that don't do that. They can refer you business and you can refer them business. So I think there's a ton of missing gaps there with the people just not looking at, they don't want to cannibalize their own business, how they can refer it out and have that mutual beneficial relationship.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Exactly. What I'm hearing you say then is your biggest marketing tip is go out and network. You don't have to be the expert in all things. Go out there and find the experts that can help you build your business.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you've got, brokers that will specialize in Medicare subs, right? Or just doing individual plans or doing short-term medical. I mean, that's all they'll do. And so it's having a referral base of people. So even for like me, I have this Excel spreadsheet of brokers I run into that don't do group, but they just do individual, or they just do ancillary, or they just do Medicare. And so when I have brokers that are looking for those guys because they don't do it, then I can refer them over to people who just specialize in that. So if you had your own database of brokers that you networked with that specialize in that, then you're all helping each other win and get more business.
A lot of potential for aggressive expansion.
That's perfect. Now, one thing that I did notice about you that you do really well is you've got a great social media and internet presence. Is that something you think that we brokers all need to have? And what are some tips that you would give to, make sure that our social media and our internet presence is where it should be?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. In this day and age, if you're not building a personal brand, it's hard for people to get to know you, right? 74% of people research people before they buy from them. So if you can't be found on the internet, it's hard to establish trust and credibility. But you find me on LinkedIn or you find me on Instagram, it's very clear what I'm about, and I'm very credible. So
Yeah.
it reduces those hurdles of having to have to build that extra rapport, having to make those extra 5 phone calls, have to set up that extra meeting, because I've already established that with what I've been able to do online. Now, you don't maybe want to be omnipresent like me. I'm kind of a masochist when it comes to being everywhere all the time. But I mean, pick a channel, if that's LinkedIn, if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, whatever you feel comfortable, and master that and make your community around that one platform that you enjoy and that you can be yourself on.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
So it's not about being everywhere at once. It's not about having the perfectly curated Instagram and tweeting every day and having a Facebook following and a group that's, a significant size and having 10,000 or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's not about having all of those things. Having all of those things is great.
Yeah.
But if we can master just one, that's good enough.
Yeah, 100%. Find out where are the people that you want to do business with. Where are they?
Mm-hmm.
Go there and then master that. For me, with my podcast and YouTube channel, my demographics are 80% male and 25 to 40. So they're going to be hanging out on Instagram. Yeah, they're not going to be on They're not going to be on TikTok, right?
Right.
I've got TikTok because I like dancing, I like singing, but that's not where I'm spending my time to find people to work with. I'm going to be on Instagram and I'm going to be on LinkedIn are going to be my 2 focuses. Where I spend the predominant most of my time where I'm going to show up. So it's just assessing where the people are that you want to do business with, where they're going to be, and then be there, be present, have a voice, and be a thought leader.
Perfect. So on that note, where can people find you and what's the best way for them to reach out to you if they want to do business with you, if they want some sales coaching, if they want to listen to your podcast, any of that stuff?
Yeah, cool, man. Appreciate that. Right there, you can see the handle, just Tyzer Evans on Instagram. It's probably where I'm most active. LinkedIn's Tyzer Evans. You can pretty much find me at Tyzer Evans, any social media platform, but I'm definitely most active on LinkedIn and Instagram. And then you can hit up my website, just tyzerevans.com, and listen to the podcast or hit me up there as well.
Perfect. And before we sign off, can you tell me a little bit about your podcast? What are you talking about there? What are you tell me a little bit about the podcast. Pitch me.
Yeah, so the podcast is Grind Sell Elevate, and it was 2.5 years ago when I started it. And kind of the thought premise was behind it was there's a lot of salespeople in the world. 95% are order takers. 95% don't know what they're doing, and it can be one of the most rewarding things or most rewarding careers you can ever have. And so I just really wanted to help people. I wanted to take them how my first year out of college, I made $34,000, and I wanted to take them how and teach people how I 10x my income. And so that was just really the thought process behind it. And so I just got on there. The first 100 episodes is me just riffing and giving sales tips, doing book reviews, giving motivational stuff, talking about my morning routine, anything that would help people become not only a better salesperson, but how to optimize their life through sales and just life tips in general. And now I do a lot of interviews like you guys do, where I bring on sales professionals or marketing people, any way to help entrepreneurs and salespeople elevate their game.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a shitload of money.
There it is. All right. One last question for you. What are the most impactful things that have influenced you? I'm talking your top mentors, books, or podcasts that have helped you get to where you are today?
Great question. Three people come to mind. One, my mom. My mom had me at 19, and she had this dream of becoming an RN. And 3 boys, worked full time, was in recovery, and was also a sponsor. Didn't get a chance to go back to college until I graduated high school at 38. And she went back and became an RN. And not only did she become an RN, she went and got her BS, and then she got her master's, and then she became a nurse practitioner. So I have so much respect for my mom, watching her just do night school for a decade before she got into the nursing program. So it taught me a lot about resilience and having a mission and having a plan to stick through and see your mission through. So she's a great role model. My father, guy up like us every day at 4:45. He didn't give a shit if he was sick, half dead, ripped Achilles. It didn't matter. That dude just showed up and he provided for his family. No questions asked. He'd work 14 hours and then drive 2 hours to go watch me play basketball. So, he was always just a role model as a father and having a super tenacious work ethic. People asked me when I first started here, like, how are you rookie of the year in top 10? I didn't take a day off for 13 months when I started here. I was like, I was raised with savages. What do you want?
Lions, not sheep, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then the last person, someone I've never met, but has been a huge mentor for me from afar, is Grant Cardone. I love everything that guy does, spits out. I'm an investor in Cardone Capital. My team does Cardone University in the morning. I've been to the 10X Growth Cons. I've read all of his books. I just love he's from Lake Charles, right down the road here. So it's just great mentor. Just love his mindset and his ability just to be raw and authentic at all times. There's no bullshit.
Hell yeah. Love it. All right. Well, thank you again so much for coming on the show, for giving us all of this value. Lots to take away. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to connect, it's at Tyzer Evans on Instagram or tyzerevans.com. Thanks again, man.
Yeah, thanks, James. Yeah, thank you.
All right, for everybody else, everybody else listening, thanks as always for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show if you got any value from what we're doing today. If you want to be a guest on the show, go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest and sign up. Would love to have you on and learn from you as well. That's all we got for y'all. Thanks again for tuning in. You rock my socks. You have my heart, and you
Have a nice day!
Thank you for tuning in to the Insurance Bro Show. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you're an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com. Look for James on all social media